On this inaugural episode of the EverWash Podcast, we'll introduce our new show to the world. Exciting, I know. I'll also talk about some hot off the press news from omniX Labs regarding a new patent approval. Sounds official. We'll also play a recent interview I had with Tim Terrizzi, a car wash operator from right here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He'll share some of the ways he's changed the culture at his wash to maximize membership sales. Lastly, we'll cover some odds and ends from the wash industry and beyond. You'll never know what you're going to get right here on the EverWash Podcast. What's up, everybody? This is Max Pulcini, host of the EverWash Podcast. What a pleasure it is to bring you our first ever official podcast. You know, this is something we've been talking about for a long time here, and I'm happy we finally got around to getting this off the ground. The EverWash Podcast will be your home for EverWash news, interviews, insights, and so much more. We'll drop these episodes every other month to start before ultimately moving to a monthly cadence. We're going to start this off as a YouTube podcast, but I'll look to bring it to other podcasting services and streaming providers in the very near future. So thank you for your patience and your support wherever you may be listening. Prior to joining EverWash, I was actually a journalist, and I even had my own FM radio news show for a while. So, staying true to my roots, we're going to start most episodes of the EverWash podcast with some news. For those who aren't familiar with us, EverWash is the car wash industry's leader in membership sales and subscription management. But that's not all that we do. Last year, we acquired machine learning and artificial intelligence firm omniX Labs. With omniX on board, we're able to transform your existing security cameras into a trusted set of eyes and intelligent business advisors. Sounds high-tech, right? omniX securely connects to cameras, analyzes video streams, and returns synthesized analytics and insights on a tidy dashboard. These include sales, member, and labor insights that will allow you to make more informed decisions about your businesses. So why is this news today? Well, last month, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office issued a new patent for omniX inventions, which process video camera streams in real time and apply complex neural network object recognition models that make sense of and communicate what is happening in any given scene. With the approval of this patent, omniX Labs is now the only company in the industry that can utilize video streams to make sense of consumer behavior at retail locations. These technologies are currently being applied at omniX-powered car washes and quick service locations across the country, driving analytics and pulling insights previously hidden to sales and operations managers. Joining me now to discuss omniX and this new patent news is Anoop Kanthan, the CEO of omniX Labs and one of the main folks behind this patent even happening. Anoop, how are you doing today?
Good, Max. Good to always chat with you.
Yeah, you as well. You as well. Thanks for joining us for our inaugural episode of the EverWash Podcast. We're making history here today on multiple fronts.
Glad to be part of that journey with you.
So I wanted to take this patent news a little bit deeper, but in order to get deeper, I think we need to speak to the masses a little bit. So in layman's terms, what does this technology mean for car wash operators? And I guess specifically, what does the patent mean for omniX as we move forward here?
Yeah, the omniX patent basically has got approval by the US Patent Office, or given us approval for the Patent Office to enable us to stream video cameras and then make sense of what's going on in those scenes in real time. And how we do that is apply various algorithms and neural networks. But what it means for the operator is we can tell what is happening as that vehicle is coming down the driveway. Is it a new customer? Is it a former member who you'd like to win back? Or an operational metric, such as the queue is getting too long, or your loader is not operating as effectively as you like today. So these are the things that it allows us to do and give the information back as actionable insights to the operator.
Very cool. And, you mentioned insights. I know that we have things available like member insights and sales insights, operational insights. Can you go a little bit deeper about what these couple examples might mean specifically for a wash?
Sure. So from a sales perspective, if you can recognize that vehicle as it's coming in a lane and know what's the right pitch for it, whether that be increasing the ticket size, welcoming back a former member, or converting a potential member, you can give that attendant or your marketing team that information. And any salesperson will tell you, if you can give them more insight about that person you're targeting for a sale, you'll increase that conversion ratio. So that's just one example on increasing the revenue, if you will, and sales targets there. But on the operational side, we're able to give you what we call WOWO, which is wheels on to wheels off visibility. And so whatever you're interested in, whether that be throughput in your tunnel, whether it be how many cars can be loaded per hour, or how much time they're spending on the lot, so you can make adjustments to whether that be conveyor speed, opening hours, etc., or staffing, we can assist with all those as well.
I know you called it whoa, but all I can say is, wow, that's really awesome stuff that operators can learn from AI. And to that point, AI is such a hot topic today. I feel like every day I'm seeing a new headline online with something crazy that Chat GPT has done, or AI is like directing sitcoms on Twitch now. It's like really, really cool stuff. Borderline scary if you're a fan of the Terminator series of movies. How do you see AI continuing to enter and evolve within the car wash space specifically? And then, maybe to explain how you see it entering retail or our lives in general in the near future.
Yeah, you're right. The Chat GPT phenomenon has really opened everyone's eyes to what this stuff can really do. And it's really coming to the surface now. I think everyone's heard of software as a service, right? So you can get software in the cloud, etc. Our view is that we're going to see sort of the equivalent, but call it model as a service. And so you're going to have these models that can give you specific answers to questions to help run your business better. And so an example might be, what can I increase my membership plan price to, but avoid any attrition? And it'll give you the answer of what that price increase could be. Or how should I change my hours? Or what should my opening hours be for this month, given the changes in the season? And it'll spit out the correct hours. So right. You're going to get these very strong, augmented intelligence tools that'll help you run your business better. And those tools are going to be great for the car wash space as well. But frankly, they can be, as you said, even more broadly retail or anything in car care too.
Very exciting stuff. And obviously this patent has positioned omniX as one of the leaders of this constant evolution, this constant push forward to innovate using AI. Let's kind of speak to that a little bit. Like, how has this really positioned omniX as the firm at the front of this chart?
Yeah, I mean, the team's done a fantastic job over the last few years in really ideating, designing, and building this platform. And obviously getting it through the US Patent Office is no easy ordeal by design. And so we're really happy to have, if you will, exclusive use of that capability, and also the right to share it with others as well in some sort of, licensing or type of arrangement. But yeah, what it really does for us is it's really our foundational capability, and that allows us now to build so many more features and capabilities for our partners and stakeholders. And so you're going to see more and more predictive intelligence coming out of us in the next few months. And really that's attributed to this base capability that allows us to firstly understand what's going on in those scenes.
Very cool and super exciting stuff. It's awesome to hear that this isn't a patent and the story stops here. This is going to be a constant evolution, constant ideation. And this is just the beginning, Anoop. And I really want to thank you for joining me today on the podcast to go a little bit deeper and share more about what this technology means for car wash operators. So, I guess before I let you get going, how easy is it to get started with omniX, and how can folks get a hold of you to learn more?
Sure. So we'd love to get in contact with operators and understand how their business operates and share what we can do for them in terms of our capabilities. You can reach us at sales@omnixlabs.com. We're also going to be at the ICA, obviously, in May in Vegas with our fellow family members, EverWash, in the booth. And I think we'll also be participating in an AI panel there too. So that should be really fun to listen to.
Excellent. Well, I know I can't wait to be there and see it happen myself. So thanks again, Anoop. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Max. Great chatting. Bye.
Thanks again to Anoop for that great interview and for the added context of the omniX patent and what it means for the industry. We're going to move on to our next segment of the show, an interview with one of our longtime wash partners, Tim Terrizzi. Tim manages his family's car wash in Northeast Philadelphia, Pit Stop Car Wash. In our interview, Tim explains how company culture has shifted to cater to membership, how operators should change the way they look at frequent washers, and lastly, how his staff morale has improved thanks to membership. Enjoy the interview. Today, I am joined by Tim Terrizzi from Pit Stop Car Wash, right here in our backyard in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and about Pit Stop Car Wash.
So I'm a third generation operator at Pit Stop. My grandfather founded the place in 1970. So I grew up in the business, admiring my dad, my grandfather. I was there a lot growing up, even before I worked there. And then from the time I was about 14 till now, I worked there in some capacity all the way through school until I eventually decided it was what I wanted to do with my life. And I'm there every day now, taking over the reins. And we're a full service car wash. We're a little old school. We still carry a lot of labor, but the membership model works well for us too. So
Yeah, so tell us about that. How long have you been doing membership at your car wash? How long have you been working with EverWash to deliver that membership plan? Tell us a little bit about that background.
we've been doing membership since about when you guys began. We were one of your first partners. So It's been about 6 years. However, it wasn't until about 2 years ago that we really started to take it on as one of the main things in our business. And that was about when I came into the business, in the capacity that I am now, that I kind of saw it as being, what we should put all of our attention and focus into.
Amazing. Yeah, that's great. And that's a perfect transition to get to kind of like the meat and potatoes of this discussion. And that's really allowing you to share some of the best practices that you've discovered. So you kind of had 3-4 years where you guys had membership as an offering, but you really weren't working it. And then 2 years ago, you really kind of switched gears and turned that around. If you can share with our audience out there, what were maybe, the top things that you learned that really made that light bulb go off? That was like, oh, shoot, there is a lot we can do with this membership thing. And then after turning those measures on, what is the success that you've seen?
So to be clear, we weren't necessarily floundering, but we weren't committed to membership. It was kind of like an ancillary thing. It was something that we offered, but we didn't push it. I think that I could give you 3 things, but I'd sum them all up under one umbrella, and it's belief. I think. So you see the numbers. There's a calculator on the EverWash website on, takes your car count and everything, and it tells you how many members you could achieve and what it'll do for your business. Mm-hmm. And that all makes sense. But sometimes we get started and we don't really know how to sell memberships. And we're like, maybe why my wash doesn't sell memberships. Maybe we can't do it here. Maybe I'm a full service, so it would be too pricey. And that's all, going to be your belief system until you really put your best foot forward and you start pitching to every customer.
Right.
And if you do that, you'll find that there are certain ways to sell the membership that just work. And if you use them consistently, it's just probability that you're going to start hitting.
Yeah.
And once you start hitting, it's like the law of attraction. If some people believe that's happy horse crap, but you could kind of see it at play when you sell memberships. Once you start to hit, it just keeps coming.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. Well, so belief, that's an amazing way to kind of sum it up. But you mentioned, kind of an approach to selling. Do you have any best practices on what that right approach to selling is? What was kind of the difference that made it seem like it wasn't this stale thing? What made selling membership fresh for you and your staff?
So the best sale, somebody told me, is the one the person didn't see coming.
Right.
So the moment I feel like I'm being sold something, I'm like, and I think everybody else, it's why we love the comedian Sebastian Maniscalco so much. You just run the other direction, you don't feel like
Absolutely.
listening to it. But really, I look at it as less that you're selling something, you're giving something to somebody.
Mhm.
They're already washing their car. You're showing them how to do it in a more cost-effective manner. So in order to get to the point where you can tell someone that you want to, give them something, you have to show that they're a person first. You have to say, hey, how are you? You have to present that it's about the person. And
Of course.
then once you have that, quick meet and greet, then you could say, hey, listen, do you know about our membership program? Well, look, you're paying this today. And I'll tell you what, I'll make it even better. If you sign up with me today, give you half off your first month. And the reason I say with me today is you're creating a sense of urgency. It's today and it's with me. Tomorrow, it might be done. Tomorrow, I might not be here. So you're giving them a sense of, oh, this guy's doing me a solid. I better hop on it quick. And the best part is I don't have to keep it. I always make sure that I express to the customer that no commitment. So
Right.
a lot of operators might be afraid of using that because they're like, oh, I'm going to get gypped. Again, if you sell 1 million memberships, you're guaranteed that some of those are going to hang on. And even if you get 1% of 1 million, your car wash is going to make a whole lot of money.
1% of
So,
a million is pretty darn good.
yeah.
That's awesome. How has your staff kind of responded to the way that you're kind of presenting the sale? Have you seen, the people that work under you and for you also take to this renewed belief in membership and I guess themselves and the sale?
Yeah. So Frank Brigidi once said that the biggest mistake people make is they look at the guy who comes in every day of the month as an asshole. And they're not. That person is actually your best customer because everyone uses a cell phone today.
Right.
And almost a guarantee that at least every other day, somebody else in that cell phone knows where that customer is
Right.
and they're at your car wash. So you want to make sure that you're embracing that customer because they're going to be your best advertiser. They're going to help you bring in a bunch of other business. So what I would say is that I've kind of instilled in my crew to appreciate those customers. Now, if you tell them what they do for business, that's very indirect. But if you make them get to know that customer,
Mhm.
then they converse with that customer every day. They become happy to see that customer. So you have to work different ways to make them appreciate the customer.
Mhm.
But what I found is though that consistent business can be good for your crew's morale because that's someone they know coming to see them every day.
That's a great point that I never even considered, how just seeing the same faces and being thanked by the same people, feeling appreciated by members is a great way to, make them just feel better about their job in general, make them feel better about where they work and coming in every day, putting a smile on their face. And it's great to see that kind of trickles down to every facet of your operation there.
Yeah.
So let's talk some results. You're doing very well, obviously, with your membership program, with your business in general. You've been able to do some upgrades, renovations at the wash. So that's really exciting. How has membership paid its dividends for your wash? How has it really changed your operation and your lives?
So just talking on my level, because I don't handle the books or I don't get to see all the numbers per se. But as a manager, that consistent flow of business has made my life way easier.
Yeah.
It gives the employees purpose because even your slowest day, you're going to have some traffic.
Right.
When you create a culture of membership, it's not just a culture that the customer feeds off of, it's a culture that your employees get to feed off of if you're doing it correctly. So that steady traffic is not going to only increase your incentive to stay open on days where the weather isn't as cooperative.
Right.
Especially and that's especially handy for someone like me that's a full service operator. There's a lot of days before membership where just it wouldn't make sense financially to stay open if there's some drizzle through the first half of the day.
Right.
People don't come in, but we're pretty much promised to still see customers and we're promised steady revenue. So it's reason to stay open, and that helps you as a manager because your men have a legitimate job that they come in every day to. and it
Right.
gives them purpose. It's easier to hold them accountable to set schedules because you're open almost every day now. Whereas before, I can't speak for everybody, but that wasn't my reality or a lot of other full service wash owners' reality.
It's interesting how transformative something like this can be for a business that has operated the same way for such a long time, or an industry that's operated the same way for such a long time. This can be a real game changer for not just the way, the customers are using your business, but the way you're approaching the business. So tell me this, Tim, what's something that you wouldn't have been able to do at your wash had it not been for membership?
Our accessory numbers are much greater than they've ever been.
Mm.
We offer a discount to members for buying stuff in our store.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say discount, people are inclined to buy. So we have a steady traffic of people that we can now sell not only accessories, but extra services, detailing. So these are kind of the possibilities that membership presents that we are yet to take full advantage of and
Mhm.
tap into. But if I can mention one thing that membership brings that I haven't already, that would be it.
Yeah, that's a great point. It can bring additional revenue to your other profit centers, right? Just by dealing with the increased volume,
Mhm.
the increased foot traffic, you're leading people to your other services, your other products, detailing stuff in the store, whatnot. And that equals more credit card business, more cash business, which everyone likes. In closing, was there any other little best practices or tips and tricks that you wanted to add before we sign off here?
One thing I've left out of that sales pitch.
Yeah.
Take advantage of those beautiful rack cards that EverWash gives you.
Nice.
Because to me, the pitch, like I said, it's gradual. I always say you want to get more and more positive as it goes along. You get the customer more and more invested before they've spent any money. So you have your hello, how are you? And then when you go to break down how you're going to save them money, you bring them to that card. So now you're making sure that if they don't hear it, they're seeing it.
Right.
And I always point to the number that they're paying as it is. I say, without a membership, no one likes to be told that they're doing something wrong because it makes them feel like they want to stop listening to you. But if you can subtly tell them that they're screwing up, they won't feel as offended. So you say, this is what you're paying without a membership.
Right.
If you paid less than the price of two of them a month, you come in and get that wash as much as you want. Freeze or cancel anytime. But again, you get their eye contact with you. You get your eye contact with the card. They're becoming more and more drawn into what you're saying. So use that card.
Yeah, some people are visual learners, right? They need
Exactly.
to see it to understand it. Tim, thank you again for joining me today. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, Max.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Tim for that awesome interview. Some key takeaways from that discussion include using rack cards to pique the interest of visual learners, looking at frequent washers as a valuable asset and not as a nuisance, and offering discounts on other goods and services at your wash as a means to boost your other profit centers, while also making your members feel more special. Applying these best practices can help you achieve new levels of success at your wash. For our last segment of each show, we're going to take a look outside the world of car washing for some fun, inspiring, or simply just some good news. These quick clips can come from the worlds of science, art, entertainment, history, really anything. Our first story comes from Chicago, Illinois, at the Chicago Field Museum. Around 100 years ago, the museum acquired a bronze sword from Europe. At the time, it was thought to be a well-made replica. But new analysis has revealed that the sword is the real deal, dating back 3,000 years to the Bronze Age, and likely belonging to a noble warrior. Using an X-ray fluorescence detector, archaeologists compared the sword's chemical makeup to other known Bronze Age weapons in Europe. Lo and behold, the combination of bronze, copper, and tin was nearly identical to its peers. Usually the story goes the other way around. Bill Parkinson, a curator of anthropology at the field, said in a press release, What we think is an original turns out to be a fake. Glad to hear this wasn't the case, Bill. Next up, an international chemical engineering team in Australia has successfully split natural seawater into oxygen and hydrogen with nearly 100% efficiency. Their new process can produce green hydrogen via cheap and commercial means. In short, the researchers were able to make clean hydrogen fuel by pulling it directly from seawater, with no filtering required. The team will work on scaling up the system by using a larger electrolyzer so that it can be used in commercial processes such as hydrogen generation for fuel cells and ammonia synthesis. Well, that does it for our first ever episode of the EverWash Podcast. I hope you all enjoyed the show and took something away from our conversations with Anoop and Tim. Stay connected with EverWash on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube for more podcast episodes and other content from EverWash. From Max Pulcini and all of us here at EverWash and omniX Labs, thank you for listening and happy washing.